What's good, guys? It's your boy CS back with another one. This one is more so of an emergency video. If you're not in the VIP chat, then you're not getting any of the trade setups or any of the calls or basically what I'm looking at, and I'm showing screenshots and all the good alpha from different people within the group, from Alex, B, loads of different people with different setups and different charts and different altcoins. So there's a lot of alpha and obviously a lot of calls and what's going on in the market itself. So shout out to everybody else who's involved, like Steve, Spartan, Adam, loads of you guys. Anyway, let's get cracking on what I can see. So this one's mainly going to be about wave patterns and deviations. And right now, if I, you know what, let's go on a higher time frame, on a weekly. On a weekly time frame, this is showing something atrocious, which is that we are about to get an absolute tonking on the weekly. And remember, this is inversely correlated on the tether dominance chart. So this is signaling that we're about to get absolutely smashed. There's a divergence there. And this would take us, I don't even want to know where this would take us. This would take us into like 70k region. That's how bad this particular deviation is. Now, if I go on smaller time frames, I can see on the 4-day and the 3-day and even on the daily, this is now played out and we've now got a wave pattern coming to the top. And if I kind of zoom in on a more lower time frame, on the 12 hourly and the 8 hour, and then we move into the 6 hour, we can start seeing there's little deviations forming on this mid time frame like that. And so what happens is it means this has not eclipsed the previous pattern on the wave, meaning that it's become exhausted for the sellers. Well, inversely correlated anyway. It's become exhausted for them to push the price any further. And so when we look at the charts basically signal that if we finished up there, the exhaustion is, somewhere finishing around here. So, you know what? Let's look at something in real time. And just be wary of that. These signals don't always work, but when they do flash, they are very important. So if you can see here, if we look at the RSI is at like 73, 74 here. And if we look at the wave pattern here, it's like 85. And then if we look on the tether dominance, that's at 4.29%. So what happens is it comes down, not bad, a couple of percent. And then it goes back up and then eclipses it right on the RSI. And then the wave pattern has a deviation because it's not eclipsed the previous wave. And so what happens is after that wave, if you caught the top, which would have been like at 4.55 or anywhere near there, you're basically riding the deviation down and you would have caught all of that up until 3.9% until we move again. And so there's different deviations that happen. And if we look at it on more on a Bitcoin chart, it's probably a bit easier, right? If we look at the last deviation, so let's look at this one as a buy signal. There was a buy there, it went up, not bad, to like 102k. And then we got a massive deviation where that green line is. Granted, it came back down, and that's where sometimes this wave does sometimes, unfortunately, not always give 100% infallible data. However, on the continuation of it, it basically blossomed from like 90k, 89k to like 108k. So yeah, it does give good signals like that. And then look on the reverse end on the 4 hour when it flashed that way. And then if you see how it flashed here, and then if we look on here, 105k came all the way down to like 90k. So it would have been a really good trade on the 4 hourly. Now, what's happening here on Bitcoin is we're putting through these wave patterns, and what can happen is you try to anticipate the flash before it actually happens. So unless that wave eclipses this one and this one, it's still looking good. But nevertheless, it could come all the way down and we could get the wave up here. Then we would have the flash. And then that would be the buy signal. So what we try to do is we try to zoom in a bit more. And as you can see on the 2 hourly, look where Bitcoin is. So we got a flash at, so we got a wave at 88 at 91.7k. We've got a wave down here at 52, it's deviated, and 96, and it's coming down for one more leg. And this is where I'm trying to see where this wave ends, because what will happen is it'll have one of those lines and it'll say buy zone, time to buy. And that's basically where we want to be looking at. And very similarly here, right, on the 2 hourly, like on the 1 hour, it's gone from there to there to there. And we can also see from here that when the RSI is roasted, that doesn't mean you should buy there. You should let it waffle on. So let's look at this. When it's roasted at 15, it came down to 97k, right? It then went up, and if you bought it, yeah, you would have got it up to 106k. But really, that came down and it never touched 15k. Like, see the bottom there at 15k or 12k, sorry. 12, not 12 on the RSI, not 12k. So that's the bottom. And then the next bottom was at here at 27. But look how badly it got damaged to get down here. That's a massive 6k drop because the RSI is in favor of the bears. And that's why when RSI is low, you let it come up a bit and then you short and you take it all the way down. And similarly, what's happening here is, unless this RSI comes and breaks around like 15 or so, it's not going to come anywhere near here. Like, it'll have to do something spectacular for that to occur, is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so we've looked at the wave patterns, right? And why they're so important, why I use them as, you know, flash buys and flash sell signals. Because they're a really good indicator of telling you when there's a deviation. It's basically RSI deviation in a sense. That's how you can basically look at it. Now, the biggest one that I wanted to share with you guys is the dominance, right? And as you'll notice, there's hardly any downside deviation because Bitcoin's dominating throughout this past year and a half. Alt seasons haven't even got a single... Look, that's the only deviation there, the only divergence. Literally every single one from the top is Bitcoin dominating, because when Bitcoin goes up on this chart, it dominates. So when we're having all these little flash signals to the downside, they're not really propagating the actual truth, which is, if we look at it, we've just been following a trend. So every time we've had these lines coming down, we've not actually harmed the dominance in terms of Bitcoin. Obviously, I'm on the side of altcoins here. Altcoins have never had a dominating phase since, like I said on the last video, since like 2022, right? So it's been over 2 years that altcoins have had a dominance. And now what I'm seeing on the wave signal, if I go on kind of the lower time frame, so let's look on the 12 hourly, massive deviation, 8 hour, massive deviation again, 6, same, 4, it's basically forming. See how it's forming like that, and it curls over. Same with the 2 hour, curling over, the 1 hour curling over. And if you look at this, if we look at this dominance here from Monday at 3 o'clock in the morning, when it actually got hammered, it went to 86, 87, right? And I wouldn't mind just seeing one more test go up and like it just stay below around this region. That would be a perfect alt season dip buy opportunity, in my opinion, because everything is just flashing that way. So this is the bullish case, that we're getting the signals that everything is coming into fruition here, right? And Is it worth the gamble? Is it worth the risk? I'd say so, because we've just been in this rising channel. Look at this these red lines here, right? So we've just been zigzagging, like I said in the last video, if you watch that, zigzagging in and out of here. And we've popped out of it and we've come back in. So on the weekly, we're actually doing all right. Now, the only thing I'm not too happy about is the fact that on the last one, when we wicked out, we stayed around here a bit too long. But when we had it previously, we just had one wick down, one wick down, one wick down. Okay, 1 or 2 wicks and then down, right? We just want to see one wick, and then next week we just want to have a powerhouse alt season straight to the bottom, right? And hopefully that'll kickstart alt season. That's the bullish case scenario. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say everything is all pretty and all fine and dandy, because as you'll recall, if you are in the VIP chat, me and Nancy and B specifically said when we were down here, I want to make this very, very clear as well. I kept saying we're in this little wedge pattern. So follow this yellow line here and this yellow line here, right? And we'd basically just been bouncing like this. Okay? So we've been bouncing like that in between this little yellow wedge pattern on the weekly. And I mean, there's receipts in the VIP chat. And this is the reason why you need to be in there, because things change, trading changes at light speed, and you have to be quick to adjust. And you can't just sit there and say, I'm always bullish or I'm always bearish. No, you have to adjust with what's going on, price action. It doesn't mean you waffle here and there, but you see what happens and what retests are happening. So when we were here outside the wedge, and I kept saying, look, we can't clear this 3.9%, and we can't clear that, and we've just come back in it. And Nancy and myself, we basically said, look, we're not looking for any buys up until we get here, 4.3, 4.7. And actually, B went up to 4.4. And I said, yeah, anywhere around that region, wait for reactions. You don't just buy straight away. You wait for a wick like this. And then you wait for the next thing. You're like, oh, okay. But we finished here, not bad. And then you wait again and you're like, coming back. And now look, if I bought here, I would have been fucked, because we've now closed above the wedge pattern. And now look, we back tested again above the wedge pattern. And that, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very bearish, because we're back testing off something where we've just zigzagged in this zone for a very long time. Now look, when we zigzag in zones like this, zigzag, zigzag, we tend to go up. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but that's the start of, either a retrace, a massive retrace, or it's just a temporary retrace. But either way, we do have some signal that, yeah, unfortunately, we're going up. Now, we need to ideally, and we do need a miracle here, we need to finish below here. We really need to finish below this wedge pattern by the end of the week. Look, 3 days, a lot can happen. And I always say this to everyone, which is never underestimate the chart. Never, ever underestimate the chart. All these bears must be feeling so cocky right now, like, haha, we've broken out of 4.3 and 4.4% on the tether dominance. We're going so much higher. Maybe so, maybe so. However, to keep rational minded, and this is not being biased as a bull, even though I am a bull in a bull market, I have to be fair here and say, look, the candle's not closed. Just like I said here, when everyone was getting excited and like, oh, we're going down, we're finally going to break. I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine. But we need to break it clearly, and then we need to retest, and then we can, be on our way. Because what happened last time is, broke it, came back in, broke it again, back tested. Okay, we're looking good. Nope, we're back in. Okay, we broke it. Nope, we're back in. And that's it. You don't want to play these little tit for tat games where you're back in, back out, back in, back out. This is what the market does. It plays with you. And you have to stay ice cold. Ice cold. And if you're just blindly longing or selling and not knowing what's going on and don't have good people to bounce off, like in my VIP chat, I take a lot of things as gospel from, B, from Shah, from especially Alex and his lower time frame stuff. I love that. His charts are amazing. If you see Alex's patterns, they're absolutely off the Richter scale. Same thing with Spartan, who, doesn't really post a lot of charts, but is getting into it, and he's, actually ascertaining where those levels are. And that's the thing. If you look at it from a higher time frame, what I'm doing and why I'm showing patience, I don't need to rush anything here. Yes, I can take little chances here and there at good risk to reward zones. But other than that, I don't really need to be taking massive gambles and saying, I'm super long here because it's done this, it's done that. No. Calm down. Take a step back. Okay. And now I wanted to go on a few other charts because we've been spending a lot of time on the tether dominance and the Bitcoin chart. Now, one of the biggest charts that I keep referring to is PopCat. And PopCat has continually teased us, or teased me anyway. And I must be on my final stretch with PopCat. I am going to get it. I'm going to get this motherfucker. I will tell you this much. Eventually, I will get it. But right now, you can see how many divergences. Look at the state of the divergences that they've been playing with us. It's a key market maker tool that they do, which is they'll pump, make you think that it's going to go somewhere, and then dump it. And then pump it, and then dump it. Like, we'll just have a look. Because it is a fantastic key, and I'm aware of what they're doing. Hence why, as much as I don't want to sell the position, I take some profits. But I'm like, is PopCat is like at this price, it's too good to be true. So look, all the pump and dump. Pump, dump. Pump, dump. Same shit. Pump, dump. Pump, dump. Pump, dump. Pump, dump. Pump, dump. Pump. And then we're going for the last dump. I hope this is the last dump. Maybe 100 million market cap. I don't know where this is going to go. But looking at the wave patterns, this is what I'm trying to establish, which is we're having so many divergences that even the higher time frames, like the 12-hour, are screaming, buy me, buy me. Like on the daily of PopCat, you would never get this. But this is screaming, buy me right now. That is what PopCat is screaming. And if I go in the lower time frames, right, PopCat is literally doing nothing. It is literally just bouncing up and down, up and down. Like, it's not even being hit that hard today compared to everything from like Fartcoin 10. Look at all the other ones. 6, 7, 4, 14 Brett. Wow. 8, 8, 6, 6, 5. There's loads of them that are going to be smashed. And look at Jinan. I wanted to also talk about this because of what Craig mentioned the other day. Notice the same scheme that the market makers do. They pump it, make it hit, dump. Pump it, dump, pump, dump. Now, Jinan's not really got any further to go, but it is quite hilarious that it's dumped, it's pumped, and it's dumped back down. Same shit with Mumu, right? Mumu's got the same pattern where it does this little fake pump and dump. That's why I'm just avoiding it at the moment on terms of leverage. There's just no point. But all the charts are doing this. Every single chart are doing this. So all the market makers know what they're doing. They're pumping it, giving you a little bit of life, and then they're just going to nuke it. And that's the unfortunate circumstance that we're living in right now. Now, final few charts of, again, I've shown you the bullish scenario, I've shown you the bearish scenario. On the others chart, we're actually just bouncing, if I look at it from here, off the trend line. So it's not all, too bad. Here, I could have just moved this up here, maybe something like that. Same thing, it's just kind of just moving with the pace. And actually, if we scroll back, right, what week are we in right now? I think today is the 5th of February, right? We did not break the all-time high until Monday the 8th of February. And then the following week, we back tested it, and the following week after that. So whoever's saying we're not on schedule is incorrect. This is literally showing us that we're on schedule. Even if we delay it by a couple of weeks, I'd be happy to do that than not have an alt season whatsoever. But right now, from what I can see, we're literally in the week. Like next week is that week, or maybe in a couple of days. Maybe this weekend we get a super big pump. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm just letting you know that we're actually on schedule, because 4 years ago today, we're at the same place. In actual essence, we've just come down a bit. So we could be just gathering steam before we let rip. And that's always a good sign, because, like when we gathered steam here, what happened? We had an inverse head and shoulders. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder could be forming back here. And so that's why I'm still bullish until otherwise I'm proven wrong ultimately. Okay, guys, that's basically it. I want you to be in good stead that should Bitcoin do what we want it to do, and it comes out swinging tomorrow, like literally out the gates, we are in very, very good stead. And hopefully we are. Remember, if this finishes like this, look at a candlestick called shooting star. Shooting star is the opposite of a hammer, basically. And it's one of the most bearish candlesticks there can ever be. So we have to be very much wary of that. And as we can see here, we've got a second test off the daily 50 EMA. So we could potentially come back, hit the 100, and then be on our way. If we look at CoinGlass, if we look at the liquidation map, right, there doesn't look like there's much left here. So if we go on the 7 days is a lot. We could head up to like 91. God forbid. 30-day, there's literally nothing. There's only shorts in our way. And on the daily, there's literally just this little bit to take out at 94k. Again, everything just depends on where Bitcoin holds as support. Because on the point of control, and I should show you these charts. So you see this previous wedge pattern that I had, or flag, whatever you want to call it. We just keep bouncing off it. Like if we look at the 1 hourly, apart from this, which is a complete nuke, we're literally just bouncing off it. You see that? Bounce, bounce, bounce. We bounced and then we actually fell through. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And we've not fallen really back into it. We're just bouncing off it. So in my opinion, this is still bullish. And if we go on the point of control, Bitcoin, when we have these little blocks and we have multiple different blocks and we just stay at the point of control like that or like that, this is actually very, very bullish. It's basically saying, nope, not today. Demand is here to stay and we're not willing to move. Ultimately like a triple bottom. So what we would have is something like that, and then we full send. Again, that's the bullish case. If we break down, not to worry. We can always come there, which again, on CoinGlass, the liquidation level is there. If we came down and filled the wick, who knows? A lot of altcoins have already come and filled the wick. But I'm seeing a lot of bearish sentiment. And so I'm staying well away from social media. I'm not having my mind scapegoated to think something else or to be in two minds. I'm going to remain bullish based off these patterns and the deviations that are occurring, because what I can see is a curl up. That's what I personally can see. And so I will follow my bias. And if I think there's a long to take, I'm going to take it. And that's basically where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it. I'd also just be looking, because I can't, when I'm trading, right, I'm concentrating on the actual level and the retest. So I can't be like, oh yeah, buy here, buy here. Like, I show you guys these levels. So look, here's the level for you at Brett. 4483. It's not that hard. Another level, 3544. What are other popular? Turbo. If Turbo goes to 28 or 29, max bid that shit. On your mother's life, max bid Turbo at 28. Put alerts like I have here and max bid that as much as you can, because it has wicked here and wicked here. Did we get a final wick? No, we got 2 big wicks and we basically never came and retested it. And if we saw that day on that wick, it came back and tested it. For me, that's massive. I'm willing to take that risk for a coin like Turbo, right? If I'm looking at Floki, right? Floki's already at some type of... I need to actually put that in on the daily. It's a daily horizontal line. So there we go. Is that a daily support? Really, the weekly support's down here where this wick is. If it came back down, honestly, I'd be one of the happiest people ever, because whether you like it or not, these memes are going to fly. And guys, listen to me, right? Listen to me. I know a lot of you are big on Brett and Ponky, and I get that too. I am too. But sometimes you need a safe bet. And Floki is the safest bet out of all these coins. It's the biggest meme coin on BNB. When when BNB moves, it's gonna absolutely skyrocket. And it's a safe coin to actually be in because of how long it's been. You got to remember, a coin that's been around for 4 or 5 years now is much safer than a coin that's only been here for a year or two. Let's be real. You've got to be real with yourself. Like Doge and Shiba, whether you like them or you don't, they're here to stay. They're cemented. Floki is that trifecta dog that's within them. It's already on one of the meme indexes. Like there's a meme index with all the big meme coins. And I'm sorry to say, like Brett and Ponky, they're not even on there. Even Whiff's on there, and I don't like Whiff. And you've got to be realistic, which is, if a coin has that much traction with that many people, why are you not investing in the safer coin? Like Floki's here at 857 million compared to Whiff at 7. And like all these other coins are basically, when they get hit badly. When they go up, yes, they go up very, very quickly. I don't deny that. They probably go up quicker than Floki. But Floki is a safer bet. And also, when Floki does move, let's not pretend here. If you've been in a cycle or two, you know what I'm on about when I say, look, it took Floki 2 candlesticks, 2 weeks to do what Bonk, Brett, every other... This is what I mean. You guys are really fading it. And I know I'm very biased on Floki, but it took 2 candlesticks for every other meme coin to do what Floki did. It just took 2 candlesticks, 2 weekly candlesticks to 10x. No other coin can do that at that high caliber, to go into the billions. No coin can do that. And that was nothing to do with Coinbase or anything. That's just Floki being Floki, being an absolute chad. And it was ahead of Bonk and ahead of Whiff as well. And then Whiff and Bonk caught up to it. Same with Pepe. Floki moves first. When Floki moves, you want to get out of Floki and then get into the others. That's how it works. And I'm giving you straight alpha if you stay to the end of this video. All right, guys, that's all from me. I wish you all the very best, and hopefully you do get the long that you deserve. If not, and I am totally wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong here, that we just totally capitulate on the tether dominance, because I have given you that aspect as well, which we finished out of that wedge pattern, and we could just range all the way up here to like 6.18. We really could. 5.62, 6.18, we could even go higher, right, at that point. And then we could be into like extreme fear and then finally drop. We could have a really late cycle. I don't know. I'm just saying to you, that will be the bearish stance. Okay, guys, that's all from me.